10 rounds for the WBA Continental Cruiserweight Championship. Introducing up first to the stage, the challenger. He's with his head trainer, Carlos Vilches. By the way, he took Ricky half the distance in Manchester. His head trainer, Mariano Godina, 13-2, 8 knockouts, fighting out of Belleville, Cordoba, Argentina. Please welcome Mariano Godina.
Worth noting as well, light heavyweight news, Alexander Vosnik, the WBC champion, and Artem Viterbi, the IBF champion, have signed for unification. I think in October, I think it was October the 18th is the date for that.
And now making his way to the stage with his head trainer, Shane McGuigan. This 2016 Rio Olympian has a perfect professional record, 12 fights, 12 victories, at 9 by knockout. He's the reigning, defending, undefeated British and WBA Continental Cruiserweight champion, fighting out of Hackney here in London. Ladies and gentlemen, known as the Sauce, Rivas and Ercoli.
Weighed 3/4 pound under the 200-pound limit in his last 3 fights. Wadi Camacho, 4th round stoppage, Tamas Lodi, a 3rd round stoppage, and of course Matiaski in that unanimous decision. He's only boxed once this year, Lawrence Ercoli, and there was some criticism at the end of last year for a couple of his performances, a little bit too much holding and spoiling and making for an unattractive spectacle.
9 ounces for Mariano Angel Godino.
This is opponent Mario Angel Godino from Cordoba City, northern Argentina. But Ercoli has switched up and linked up with Shane McGuigan, who is an excellent coach now. And hopefully that will pay dividends, and we'll see the changes that they've started to make this year.
Yeah. I've said it before, where Ercoli has such
14 stone, 3 pounds, 4 ounces for Ercoli.
He's quite happy
14,
to
3,
win
4.
openly because it's so easy for him. But I know Eddie's been in his ear, and a few, obviously, thousands or hundreds of thousands of people have been criticising Lawrence Ercoli's approach in fight. So I know now he wants to eagerly impress. You know, he really, really wants to impress, and I think he will on Saturday against an opponent he should be quite comfortably, but still got to take care of business and move on to bigger and better things.
Godino wants it. We've got a war.
Well, I would suggest Godino maybe wasting a little bit of energy there, because Ercoli's just not a guy you can really get under the skin. So it's good for the crowd to see anyway.
Looks like we got a war in our hands. WBA Continental Cruiserweight Championship, ladies and gentlemen.
And Ercoli's in purse bids, I believe, next week for the European title, so we should have some news on that in the coming days. There'll be certain announcements coming next week that we'll be able to kind of talk to the fans about as well. Your man Dave Allen is sitting down somewhere, but he's sat with someone that, well, you wouldn't necessarily expect, isn't he?
No, he's sat with his opponent David Price. They're having a bit of a chin wag and a bit of a laugh, and it's good to see for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of a bit of genuine bad blood, but it doesn't always have to happen. Mark my words, that fight's going to be fireworks tomorrow night, so there doesn't need to be any bad blood.
Veteran hailing from Reading, Rivas.
Ibra Riaz is late replacement opponent. Making his way to the scales to replace Reece Smith that steps in.
And now making his way to the stage with his father and head trainer, Grant Smith. His young professional record, perfect, 1 fight, 1 victory. He is the celebrated and highly decorated British amateur sensation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dalton Thunder Smith.
Boxed really well on his debut. Dalton Smith trains at the Steel City Gym with his dad, Grant Smith, the Edwards brothers, Lee McGregor as well. It's a terrific little stable that they've got there. He was an excellent amateur, Dalton Smith, but had a little bit of experience in the World Series boxing. There were signs there, I think, and maybe that's what caught Eddie's eye, that he had the makings of a decent pro.
3 ounces for Riyaz, 10.43 for Ibrahim Riyaz.
There was a lot of stuff with Aiba that was up in the air going into the Olympic cycle in Tokyo, and that's a tough enough ask qualifying for the Olympics, let alone getting there and making sure you get a reasonable draw and fair decision from the judges. So many variables as an amateur Olympian, and I think he just thought, you know what, I could get ahead of the game here. 2 years as a pro before the next lot turn over, and you know, hopefully that decision will pay dividends.
Right, with Smith, for me, you know, it is very difficult now to. It's very hard now to guarantee if anyone's going to go on and go all the way. But for me, he definitely has the talent to go all the way. You know, you need a bit of luck. You need to commit yourself to this sport. But as far as talent's concerned, trust me when I say this, he has the ability to go all the way.
And sometimes say, you know, don't stick with your amateur coach, but you know, his dad's coaching Charlie Edwards, Sonny Edwards. They're both doing absolutely fine, aren't they? So all signs point to a successful career, discipline-wise, and the talent, everything else that he needs. He's in the right place to be pushed promotionally too. So good luck to Dalton Smith Saturday night. Ibrahim Riyaz in his way, very, very seasoned journeyman. He's had a long career, only been stopped I think 3 times in a number of years in the sport. So if Dalton can get the job done, that will certainly be a statement in itself.
The potential to be the fight of the night. It's a Nixon Hill fight, both fighters undefeated, both fighters with the same records, 9-0, 8 knockouts, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBA Intercontinental Cruiserweight Championship. Let's first bring up the challenger. This is at 90.7 kilos, 200 pounds, for 14 stone, 4-pound limit. Fighting out of Bournemouth, 9-0, 8 knockouts. Please welcome the gentleman, CBS, Chris Billum Smith.
Well, this is the first time Billum Smith will have made championship weight. It was 201 pounds against Yassine Abachi in May. 205 pounds against Ken Kapanen, 201 against Michael Klesnik.
Also perfect professional record, 9-0, 8 knockouts, fighting out of London, England. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Riakporhe.
Sorry, Chris, I got butted. I was telling you about that story about Spencer Oliver, and I could just see his little head at the bottom of the screen there. So if anyone don't know who Spencer Oliver is, when it goes back to the other screen, the one with the funny small head with big ears. There he is with a phone.
14-2-7, 14 stone, 2 pounds, 7 ounces for Chris Billum Smith.
Well, certainly his opportunity to see what he's made of.
Scale, fighting out of London, England, here is the undefeated Richard Riakporhe.
Well, 2 really, really nice guys. Riakporhe looking in terrific shape there, but uncharacteristic, little bit of needle from them yesterday.
14 stone, 3 pounds, 5 ounces for Richard Riakporhe.
He asked Billum Smith whether he felt insulted by Shane McGuigan's decision to bring Ercoli into the camp, and said, you know, do you feel like now you're just an insurance policy, because if he really backed you, would he have brought someone in who's the British champion? And, you know, Billum Smith said, listen, it won't matter because we'll be the number 1 and 2 by the end of the year. Anything in that, do you think, Darren, or just Riakporhe trying to get under his skin?
Yeah, I think so, and Lawrence Ercoli had a go, didn't he? He said Smith will win in the first round, so yeah, a few words exchanged, but nothing more than that, I don't think. There's a lot of respect there, and I don't think anyone's going to fight any different than they're used to doing so. But I'm looking forward to that one. Another 50-50.
Absolutely. It's Shane McGuigan against Mark Tibbs in the corner. Shane, of course, will have a busy night's work with Ercoli as well. But you've got to say, if there's one person that you would want to have in your campus preparation for Riakporhe, it would be Lawrence Ercoli as a sparring partner.
Definitely. For me, it doesn't get much harder than Lawrence Ercoli. There's so many obstacles to overcome. You know, his size, his reach, his power, and the fact that he's a very good boxer for sparring. Tremendous, really, really good sparring.
Absolutely, very, very interesting to see how that one turns out. 10 rounds for the WBA Continental Cruiserweight belt. Really, really looking. Anybody you would lean towards out of those 2?
Probably Riakporhe, if I'm honest. If I had to, I know Smith's a very good fighter, but Riakporhe, he's just mixing the higher level for me. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't doing that great against Whyte, but he got the business done. And Tommy McCarthy, we know, is a very good fighter. He took care of business there. So for me, if I had to pick, though, I think it's a very close fight. I just edge towards Reactor.
Interesting. So just talk to me a little bit about your man Dave Allen, because I get the impression that he's now just itching to fight because it's. We've just got some interviews going on in the background. I think Sky are having a brief 4 or 5 minute break. We'll carry on talking while they're doing that. How's Dave doing?
Yeah, very well. He's very eager to get in there now, which I'm happy about. You know, that's the whole point in this week. It's about resting your body, but most importantly, your mind. Your body's so used to doing such hard work in the gym that it's just ready to explode, and that's how I used to feel when I used to get the best out of me. So I'm glad Dave's feeling the same. But yeah, he's in a good place. There's a lot of people have mentioned the fact that we've spoke about the Povetkin fight potentially on the O2 bill on the 31st, Lomachenko, Campbell. But for me, Dave's similar to myself, that it's nice to have a carrot being dangled, knowing if you take care of business Saturday, there's another huge fight in 6 weeks looming, potentially. So yeah, look, he's in a fantastic place. He's in love with the game, he's in love with training, he's in love with the limelight he's receiving, and to be honest, it's been a pleasure being part of it.
That's really good. Just talk to me, because you got your trainer's license officially, a couple of weeks ago, granted. How long's the process, and talk me through it?
It's pretty straightforward, really. It was a bit of a nightmare for me, but I got a lot of miles under my belt and 2 speeding tickets. But anyway, we won't go into that. It's pretty straightforward, if I'm honest. You're basically in the classroom, and a board official goes through all the rules and regulations. You do a first aid course. This runs over a day and a half. Then you have a multiple choice test after each day.
Right, you must have been tired.
Even for me, even I passed it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's it. And then you get it in a couple of days, and you renew it each year if you wish. And look, for me, I went there sort of, if I'm honest, turning my nose up a little bit, saying, why have I got to go, etc. Not that I felt I needed any special favours, just because I know this sport inside out. But there was a lot I learned there. A lot of rules I wasn't aware of, and lots of, don't get me wrong, I boxed for 23 years, that's all I know, but I knew it as a boxer, not as a coach. So there's lots of things you've got to take on board, especially with cuts, how to deal with cuts. Thankfully, we've got Mick Marsden, who's going to be doing cuts tomorrow night, but I didn't have a clue. And it does sort of help you with things like that. But look, it's under my belt now. I said it, I hope boxing's been kind to me. This is I've travelled the world. I've met some great people like yourself, mate.
Cheers, mate.
And I've achieved things that I only dreamt of. And now a new chapter starts. I'm able to continue this in this sport as a coach. So who knows where I might travel, who I might meet, and what I might achieve.
Is this the kind of thing? Because I know really you didn't have any desire to be a trainer per se, but it's a specific desire to help someone like Dave that you personally have come to care for. Is that really what it would be for you in the future? Say you take Dave as far as he can go in the next 2 or 3 years, whatever it might be. Would you then only really assume that role again if you met someone else of the same ilk that you actually thought, A, I can do something with, and B, I care enough about to do it?
Right now, I assume, and I'm quite confident that is exactly what I would do. I've got quite a bit going on in my life, and my life, it's quite comfortable. I'm busy, but I enjoy what I've got. For me, I love working with Dave. I love being around him. He's a great guy.
I
think it'll be one at a time.
An incredible international
Send you back over to David Diamante. I think we're carrying on with the weigh-ins.
You heard of Matchroom Boxing, and this bout is in association with Haymaker Promotions and Warriors Boxing. Introducing up first to the stage, he's a southpaw fighting out of Krakow, Poland, 22-3. Please welcome the former WBC Baltic, IBF International, and Polish heavyweight champion. He's a former world title challenger, Artur Szpilka.
Serious fighter, Artur Szpilka. He's got things back on track after those back-to-back losses to Deontay Wilder and Adam Kaunacki, beat Dominic Quinn, and An aging Marius back in fairness, but still a good win.
Trainer Dave Caldwell, professional record, 30 wins, 9 defeats, 21 big wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Finchley, he's the former British, the former Commonwealth, the former European, the former WBA International, and the former WBO International Heavyweight Champion, Derek Chisora.
Feels like he's been around for like 2 generations of fighters, Darren. You know, the Hey Danny Williams era, he's crossed over 2 or 3 generations. They're still so popular, still going, and arguably he's boxing somewhere near his best, even now.
He's in the best shape of his life, in my opinion. You know, he's in the twilight years of his career. The condition he is in is unbelievable. And he said in the fighters meeting, you know, he'll keep going as long as he's moving his head, he's not getting caught with silly shots.
But 17 stone, 5 pounds, bang on.
That is the question. It's not so much his age, it's the type of fights that he's been in. You have to question how much longer has he actually got. Well, however long he has got, it's been a really fun ride with Derek Chisora. Ups and downs. Sometimes he looks amazing, sometimes he's been terrible, but he's always been a character. I mean, right on cue, always been a character the whole way through. And he's up against a really, really tough competitor in Artis Filker. Had Wilder in some fits, won a big share of those rounds against Deontay Wilder. It was 3 or 4 years ago. Just got taken out against Adam Kalnacki. Wondered whether his punch resistance took a dent after one of the biggest knockouts we've probably seen in recent years in heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, look, he's a very tough opponent, a tough test. I run a competition on my Instagram, and it was basically whoever can correct the 3 main fights in this card get a training session with me. Anyway, the one fight that split most people's views and opinions was this fight. A lot of people Spilka, a lot of people Chisora, and I think this could go
10 rounds, heavyweights, Saturday night, O2 Arena, Eddie Hearns Matchroom Boxing, David Hayes Haymaker Promotions, and Warriors Boxing.
I also think Spilka is a bigger heavyweight than people actually realise. For Marius back and Deontay Wilder, looks small in those fights. People think maybe 6'1", 6'2". He's actually closer to 6'4", normally weighs in between 235, 240. Not a small heavyweight, really.
No. It's quite funny, the size of a heavyweight seems to vary a lot these days, doesn't it? You know, look at someone like Fabio Wardley, who's not huge but relies on his speed. You've got a man like Dave Allen, who he's a chunk.
He's such a chunk.
Yeah, like a lot of people actually ask me why doesn't Dave drop down at cruiserweight?
No chance.
It's impossible. You've been around.
It's the legs and the
legs.
Everything.
They are tree trunks, aren't they? You know, there's absolutely no chance. So yeah, the heavyweight, the modern day heavyweight, I think varies a fair bit. I mean, we're going to have Usyk, aren't we, coming up from cruiserweight, who instantly, for me, if he fills out slightly, because I don't think he will too much because he relies on his speed, but I think he's a big
he
guy.
Looks very, very big in New York.
How he made cruiserweight, I do not know.
Yeah. It's time now to weigh in the co-featured bout of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant WBA Continental Heavyweight Championship. Introducing up first to the stage, this 2008 Olympic bronze medalist boasts a record of 24 victories, 6 defeats, 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Liverpool, he's the popular and hard-hitting Scouser, the former English, British, and Commonwealth heavyweight champion, David Price.
Well, another guy, Darren, who just feels like he's been around since the start of the 2000s. You roomed with him in the amateurs in, I guess it was early 2000s, was it?
Well, 2004 in Croatia, the European Championships. Yeah, lovely guy. I'm a big fan of David Price. He's my mate.
Life advisor Mick Marsden and his head trainer Darren Barker. Professional record 17 victories, 4 defeats, 2 draws, 14 big wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Conisbro, known as the Doncaster de la Hoya, the White Rhino, the Sock. He's the People's Champ, dazzling David Allen.
Steve Bunce will be wanting that shirt back at some point, but David Allen is
good shout.
Always, thanks, mate. Always one of the fan favourites. Both of these guys are brilliantly popular in the British public. Pricey looking really good nick. His prime was kind of, I guess, around 2009, 10, 11, when he was knocking people out undefeated. He was weighing around 242 to 244 there.
5 pounds for David Price,
85, a healthy weight for David.
So I'm interested because David obviously hasn't done much this week. I predicted 17-2, 17-3 at the start of camp. It was 17-6 last time out against Brown, so I'm interested to see this.
David Allen.
Yeah, looks good and healthy, because you said that just getting to a weight 3 or 4 weeks ago where he was starting to feel tired, and that's when you know you need to adjust your calories.
17 stone, 3 pounds, 5 ounces, 17.35 for David Allen.
17.3, not bad.
So yeah, 17.2, 17.3. I predicted at the start of camp it became a bit of an obsession with Dave. He just wanted to lose lots of weight, and I don't know why.
he looks tiny there.
Yeah.
It must worth mentioning, Big Price, he's got trainers on, David's flat-footed. And when you're standing next to someone like David Price, who's just about 6'9", you don't need another 2 inches off the back of that.
WBA Continental Heavyweight Championship, Saturday night, Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing, Sky Sports Box Office, and Dazn live around the world from the O2 Arena here in London, England.
Just give us a little bit of an insight. How do you anticipate David Price comes out to box? How's Dave going to come out?
So we're prepared for both scenarios here. My initial feeling is, after listening to David Price, I don't think it's a guard up or trying to confuse us in any way, but I think he's disappointed in the way he didn't let his hands go against Cash Ali.
And he's been guilty of that in a few fights of late.
And I think he really wants to go out there and try and do what he's famous for, I guess, and that's knocking people out.
What he did in the early days, yeah.
Exactly, what he did in the early days. So I expect David Price to come, hold the centre ring and try and push Dave Allen back and try and knock him out.
The International Boxing Hall of Famer, Mr. Michael Buffer.
Well, from one great announcer to probably the greatest there.
First of all, thank you all for being so patient. We have a great crowd here, obviously over 1,000 people. So we thank you very much. Well, let's get this party started. As David Diamante presented the entire card leading up to this main event tomorrow night. And it's all at the Cathedral of Sports and Entertainment in London, the O2 Arena. Presented by Mr. Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing, along with Val and Group Yvonne Michel. A great night of boxing tomorrow night at the O2. But the main event, it's the big boys of boxing. 2 top-ranked heavyweights will go at it, and on the line, scheduled for 12 rounds, is the vacant WBC interim heavyweight championship of the world. The winner will be the mandatory for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. And it'll be broadcast live on Sky Sports Box Office and internationally on Dazn, all their platforms, DAZN Dazn. Sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, and JD Sports. Well, at this time, let's bring up the 2 fighters for the main event. First, onto the stage, a perfect record consisting of 26 fights, 26 victories, 18 big wins by knockout. He's the NABF and NABO heavyweight champion, and he is the current undefeated IBF international heavyweight champion, originally from Colombia, now living, training and fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Oscar Kaboom Rivas!
Well, it was a great win over Brian Jennings that put him in this position, Oscar Rivas.
And welcome to the stage, his opponent, also with 26 fights, 25 victories, the same 18 big wins by knockout, only 1 defeat in his career. 4 years ago, since then undefeated, 9-0, 6 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former British heavyweight champion, former WBC international heavyweight champion, and the current WBO international champ and WBC silver heavyweight champion, the Fighting Pride of Brixton, London, England, #1 ranked heavyweight in the world, William the Price First on the scale will be the gentleman from Montreal, Canada, perfect record. 26-0, 18 wins by knockout, official weight.
Strong, doesn't he, Rivas?
17 stone, 1 pound, 3 ounces for Oscar Rivas.
Well, the WBC interim heavyweight world title announced earlier this week, and the promise of a mandatory position.
25 victories, 18 KOs to his credit. The heavyweight fighting pride of Brixton, ranked #1 in the world, the WBO silver heavyweight champion, Dillian, the body snatcher, Whyte.
He has been #1 with the WBC for over 2.5 years, Dylan Whyte, without being made mandatory challenger. You know, we can laugh about it because it's been said over and over again, but it never gets less ridiculous. Strong, tough, the best physical condition of his life under Mark Tibbs and that Loughborough setup. They said that Rivas' team said they were going to try and back him up, get in his face early, but Whyte's physically a very, very strong guy. Everybody that sparred with him is the one thing they say, very hard guy to push back, very physical, strong heavyweight.
Oscar Rivas, ranked #5 in the world by all the associations. 2 of the big boys. Crossroads fight. Here they are. 2 of the best heavyweights in the world tomorrow night at the O2 Arena on a great card of boxing. Whyte versus Rivas.
So they come nose to nose in front of the thousands of people that come out to watch this. And that's as close as they'll get until they meet in the ring tomorrow night live at the O2 and on Sky Sports box office. Ring scheduled for round about 10:30. Dylan Whyte and Oscar Rivas for that WBC mandatory position to face, they will hope, Deontay Wilder in the new year.
Once again, all the way down to tomorrow night at the O2 Arena, London. A great night of boxing. You can see it live on Sky Sports box office. The rest of the world gets to see it on Dazn, DAZ, and Oscar Kaboom Rivas versus Dillian, the body snatcher, Whyte, and a great card of boxing.